Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned into.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. We had a little technology glitch there. This is our show. It's all about dating. And guess what? We are live on Business Talk Radio and we are live on social media. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I am a certified life and career coach. And we couldn't do this show. It would be literally impossible without my co-host, Lisa Manyoky. Hello, Lisa.
I feel so special.
It's all about you, Lisa. It's great to see you.
No. It's about the guests.
Yes. So you had technology problems. I had technology problems. It's going around.
Well, how'd you do with the storm? I mean, we had so much congestion as a result of it. So for anybody who's listening, I mean, here on the East Coast, it was pretty brutal.
Well, since I haven't left the house.
Well, I think we were a point and a half, but you know what? I gave birth to those wonderful children of mine, and I reminded them how much younger they were than I and how much stronger they were so they could be inspired to come help me.
You away. Oh my gosh. I don't miss those days of shoveling. Really good exercise, but as we get older, it's a little dangerous, right?
You know what? I did it anyway, and I don't mind it. It's just that this was a heavy snow, and I think it'll be 45 on Saturday, so it'll all melt and now flood.
Bye-bye snow. Bye-bye snow. Yes. Yep. So we've got a great guest with us today, and you know how I love talking about dating and hearing coaches and their stories and hearing the backstory. Why don't you give us a little bit of your backstory, because you had a radio show for a couple of years and you've worked with some of the best relationship and dating coaches, matchmakers. So why don't you share it with us?
You know, I after I got divorced, and I trained in relationship coaching with my friend Cheryl, who's been a guest on the show. And she went on to professionally pursue me. It was just personally beneficial and a lot of fun. So we did have a radio show for a couple of years where I joined a bunch of dating sites and we followed my travels. It was just, for me, entertainment more than anything, but for her, a profession. So that said, we came up with a lot of tip sheets and advice and counsel that we could give to prospective daters. And the lessons are wonderful because they're not only just relevant to people who are dating, but they're relevant to people who are in a relationship. That means communication, aesthetic, listening, skills that work in the living room and in the office and as a parent. They're applicable to a bunch of different environments. So I admit that it was personally beneficial and not professionally, but I'm glad I can bring some of those insights to your listeners here.
I am thrilled. And by the way, would you please share with us what is Presence Intelligence? You were the founder. What do you do there?
Well, everybody has a presence. I mean, when we think of people who we say have presence, they're typically revered or tended to because they simply show up into a room. There's something charismatic. When I ask people to describe what it is, they say, I don't know, there's just some quality about them. It's usually the result of confidence or comfort in someone's skin. It's a really great trait to have if you're looking to find a partner who loves, or at least at a minimum likes you as you are. No tactical things that you can't sustain. You know, not too much of one thing or not enough of another when you go out to date. And then the person over a period of time says, ooh, that's not the person who I met. So I don't like that. So I work with people in their personal and professional circles to make sure that whoever they really are on the inside is showing up in alignment on the outside. That makes the total package of who you are have total integrity And then you can find the people who are right for you and the people for whom you are right much more easily.
And that certainly has a big part when you're looking to meet somebody. You want to show up and be the genuine, the authentic you.
Yep.
So
I'll tell you, I have one funny story though. I do remember working with one gentleman who actually had a binder of his requirements. He literally came up, I'm not even kidding, of a business plan of all the things that he wanted in his future loved one.
wow.
It was a little unrealistic.
Did you call him Binder Man?
No,
Oh, Binder Man.
but I mean, he assembled a team of us, of myself. Actually, Cheryl was part of it as well, and another individual to give him advice about finding the right woman. But anybody who has a binder of criteria is likely establishing some fantasy personality who does not exist. And in this case, she didn't exist.
Yes, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that story. That was a good one. I'm going to remember Binder Man as a result of our conversation today. So we're going to bring our guest on, but I just want to let our listeners and our viewers know that we want to hear from you. Yes, I've got this whole computer set up to take phone calls. Please write down this number. We want to hear from you. The number is 609-961-1699. Don't leave me hanging here without a call. All right. We also want to hear from you on social media. We are live streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch TV, and of course, Business Talk Radio. So let's bring our guest out. I know I'm going to mess up his name because I only asked him and practiced it like 5 times. Let's welcome Bill Scalzitti. Wrong. It's wrong. Is it right? Perfect.
You did it right.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. Bill, welcome to the program. It's a pleasure to see you. And for people on social media who are watching, we actually see 2 pictures of you. And one is the way we're streaming the conversation in through technology. So we hear you, we see you. I just want you to know that.
Okay, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Perfect. So, Bill, share with us a little bit about what you do at Romance by Choice.
Well, Romance by Choice is a methodology that I developed to help single people find the love they're looking for. And I use my audiobook that I created back in 2006 as the basis for the program. So I take them through the different sections of the book. And the first part, as Lisa was saying, is all about you, all about the person I'm working with. And I always ask them 2 questions. Who are you? And how do you choose to live the rest of your life? And most people have difficulty answering that question or those questions. And that's because they don't give enough thought to that. And if you're not sure who you are, how is someone else going to know who you are? So the first part of the program is all about empowering the person to get rid of all the stuff that's been put in their head by their parents, their friends, the relatives, media, everything, movies, the whole thing, and get down to how do they choose to live their life? And who do they choose to live it with? So it's all about choice. So we go through them getting in touch with themselves. And first part is we want to know if they're happy where they live and if they're happy in their career. Because if they're not happy where they live or in their career, then how are they going to be happy with someone else? Because the person's going to come into a life of somebody who's very disjointed. So if they are happy where they live and they're happy in their career, then we start looking at them. And I designed a list of characteristics, traits, and qualities that I believe people need to think about when they're getting into a relationship. So we build their ideal person based on this litany of things, and we create an imperative list. The things that are imperative for them to have in their mate. Then we create an important list. The important list is for them to say, well, I really would like this, but it's not that not a game breaker. You know, not a red flag. I can deal with it. The person has everything else. And then there are those absolute, we'll never, ever, ever tolerate things. And when they can get in touch with themselves to analyze these things and create this list, then I say we're starting to build the person they truly want. Because people may say, I want this, but then after you work with them a little bit, you find out that's not really what they want. So we have to get them cleared up on that. Once we do that, now we have the person ready to start moving forward. My program also includes 6 musical albums. And there's an album for preparing for love. So when they finish the first section, and we've got them clear on who they are and what they're looking for, then we introduce the album Preparing for Love. And the importance of those songs are the words, because I have found that many, many people do not listen to the words of the song. They know some of them, they like the melody, but they don't really get into the heart of the song. And then we start the second part, which is all about the attitude that someone needs to really survive in the singles world. And we use such tools as science of deliberate creation, conscious language, virtual reality, positive mental attitude, feng shui. These tools help prepare them mentally for them to be out in the world. And also, I do believe that when you put out positive affirmations, you attract that into your life. But most single people will walk around and say, there's no good men out there, there's no good women out there. And when they keep that up, you know, that's what they're going to find. So when we can change that, their thoughts on that, and get them to really realize that, wow, the person I'm looking for is out there. And then when we've worked this part, now we have them in their head in the right position. Then we introduce the second album, which is the Attitude for Love. And that's all to reinforce the fact that they will find what they're looking for. Then the third part is all about the differences between men and women. And that is, to me, one of the most important parts, because I have found that, you know, we know men and women are 2 different animals who speak different languages. And unless we know how to communicate with each other, we can wind up having arguments and disagreements and misunderstandings because we just don't know how the other half needs to be communicated with. So that's a big part. When we understand that, then you're able to have a much greater relationship with your partner. And then there are 2 albums for a man to give a woman and 2 albums for a woman to give a man. And one's maybe when you're in the relationship, 3, 4, 5 months, and you're starting to really feel like this is the right one. And then when you're ready to know, hey, we are definite, we are a couple, you got this other album. And these albums took years to research, but they deliver a message that is extremely heartfelt. And then we work on their dating profile. And if you've ever had the privilege to look at a dating profile of single people, you'll find that they put some of the worst pictures of themselves and say some of the silliest things in their dating profile. And they wonder why they're not attracting the type of people they'd like to meet. So I make sure we get all the photos they represent the person. And one of the things I've observed is a lot of times someone will have 5 pictures on a dating profile, and everyone makes them look like a different person. So if that's true, then how do I know who I'm dating? So we have to make sure there's a consistency to the photos and that they show the best qualities of you. And so and then what we say in the profile should be statements that are going to attract people to you. And the people then would be a better match for what you're looking for. So if you're looking for X and you describe that, that person can find you. And you can weed out a lot of people that you don't want to. Because we know that very often there is a, we see someone and our first thing is it's a physical attraction. We like their smile, we like their looks, and we forget everything else. So it's very important that they go through this process. And my program is 6 sessions long, and it takes about 2 months to complete. So that's kind of the overview of the program.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Bill. I love the whole idea about the albums. That's so unique. I've never heard of anything like that before. So kudos to you. That's wonderful. We are going to have to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and hear more about romance by choice. So stay with us here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. It's all about dating, live on Business Talk Radio and social media. We will be right back. Located at 121 Haddon Avenue in Westmont, New Jersey, is Margie Cedrone, artisan jeweler. Margie's been in business for more than 30 years. She works with her clients to create custom pieces of jewelry to reflect their personality and help them make their own bold statement. Starting in the renowned Jewelers Row in Center City, Philadelphia in 1988, Margie works directly with her clients to develop one-of-a-kind pieces such as necklaces, engagement rings, wedding bands, unique watches and tennis bracelets, as well as a myriad of rings and earrings for everyone in your family. She also has worked directly with Dr. Jacalyn over the years, creating unique pieces of jewelry to reflect her personality. She does pearl stringing and repairs on site at 121 Haddon Avenue. Call or text Margie at 215-384-7155. Margie Cedrone Jewelry is open by appointment only. Make your own bold statement.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Caruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
Looking for children's books to embrace the imagination, to inspire your kids to be the best they can be and to love themselves? Look no further. Children's author DianeFloydBain.com. You'll find the books right there and on Amazon and local stores.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. It's all about dating, and I assure you, we are live on Business Talk Radio and social media. With me today is my co-host Lisa Manyoky and our special guest. Will I get the name right a second time? Bill Scalzitti. All
Very
right.
good.
I get to stay for a little bit longer. So, Bill, you were just giving us an overview before the break about your process and how you work with your clients. And I'm wondering what you've been finding during COVID. Have people wanted to couple up, wanted to meet people, or are people not really interested right now? They're more in a lockdown situation and they're going to wait until sometime in the future to partner with someone.
COVID just changed the dating scene, but people are still interested in dating. And the thing that's changed now is when someone meets someone online, they do a Zoom date. So, as a matter of fact, in many cases, I think Zoom dating is almost better than the old type in-person meeting at, say, Starbucks on a Saturday afternoon for 20 minutes. Because on a Zoom date, you're going to see who the person is. So you're going to know, number one, if their photos are accurate or if they have a 20-year-old photo up there online. You get a chance to see the person, hear the person. You get to see a lot of mannerisms of the person. So it's a good way of getting through the clutter when you first start with different people who want to meet you. And then people do Zoom dating in the beginning. They'll meet and maybe they'll watch a movie on, say, a Saturday night. They're in their own homes. They're watching the same movie on Netflix. And maybe they're going to each have a bottle of wine and they'll share some talk while they watch the movie, just as though they would if they were sitting together. And after a few Zoom dates, again, they may decide, depending upon where they live and what the temperature is where they are, whether they want to go out for dinner or meet in the park or, take that next step to actually have more of a in-person type of meeting. And then they go from there. It's all up to them how they, see and deal with the COVID crisis.
Yeah, I really like that. You can have a whole other opportunity to get to meet people, just like what we're doing, right? We're on Zoom, we're on StreamYard, meeting people all the time and making connections we never would have made. So why not do it in the dating world? Lisa, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, plus you get some information about how the person lives. I mean, the environment in which they choose to hold their call will let you know, are they neat? I remember one gentleman, all he had was a flag and a triangle on his wall. And I thought, what's that about? Well, he was military, so it was, the flag and the triangle, but that was on the wall. That was it. And he panned the monitor. There was nothing else on his walls. So I thought, how did you just move in? He'd been there for years, but you get a little piece of somebody's lifestyle with a Zoom call that you wouldn't get if you're sitting across the table in a restaurant or at a bar. So it kind of gives you a little edge, because I know lifestyle for me, I want to live with someone who, if we're going to ultimately share a place, who has a similar approach to living space.
Makes sense.
Sure.
Makes sense. Bill, what do you think? In terms of that gentleman who had the flag in the triangle and there was nothing else, a minimalist who's proud of his military experience?
Well, it could be. We don't know much about him, so we have to see, the more you get to, that's the part of the whole Zoom date, is the more you get to know about the person. And that's where, with my program, I teach people how to date. How to ask questions in a nice way, to find out if the person is somebody that you would like to invest time with. I give you an example. I had one client and I said, so tell me about your last 2 or 3 dating experiences. And she says, I must be something wrong with me because I keep meeting only children. She said, I can't stand it. She said, every man I meet has no brothers or sisters and his mother won't leave him alone. said, well, that's easy. You don't have to waste time. When you meet someone, you're talking with them and you say, you know, I got this crazy sister. Yeah, by the way, you have any brothers or sisters? If the person says no, then you might as well leave right then and there. If the person says, yeah, I got 2 sisters and a brother, now you know, because for her, having family was very important. So again, you know, that if you know how to ask questions in the beginning to get to things that are extremely important to you, you won't waste a lot of time.
And thanks for sharing that, Bill. What was it that led you to make your career doing this? It seems like a really cool career, bringing people together to find love and find romance. What was the catalyst for you?
Well, I had gotten married at a very young age. The marriage lasted 7 years. But when the marriage was over and I saw the upset, the hurt that it caused her, I thought to myself, how does something that starts out so joyously crash and burn in a rubble of heartbreak and disaster? And I just decided that I was going to do research. And I started doing my own research on relationships. And I was in a business at the time where I had access to lots of people. And when I met someone who told me they were divorced, I'd say, tell me how you met your spouse and tell me why your marriage ended. And after a while, talking to enough people, I began to see how patterns were developing. And you hear similar stories about different things. And it just got me. And interesting, I was living in Manhattan, being single, had a lot of friends. And whenever they told me they just met somebody new, I right away started doing my thing with them. And the more I did it, the more ways I was able to improve the results of what was happening. And I used to do programs at the Learning Annex in Manhattan, Parents Without Partners, Jewish community centers. And from doing group classes, and again, listening to people, trying things out with people, I decided that, wow, I think this is something that I really want to put a lot of time and effort into. And from there, I just decided that I wasn't going to do groups anymore because I found out that this was too personal. Mm-hmm. So I just decided to leave it as one-on-one coaching. And that's how the whole thing got started. Then I was going to write a book, but the book I thought nobody would read. It was boring. Then I tried to make an audio book, and I did the whole recording, and I didn't like it. And then when I got the brainstorm about putting music inside the book and music to go along with the book. And after 2 years of researching music, I culled it down to these albums, and then I had to buy the rights, re-record them, and then release the book.
That's really fascinating. And I love how what you described applies to so many, including me, is that you try to find some things, you branch out, right, to see what might resonate with you. And you talked about the writing, and then you realize, it's not quite a fit, but let me see what else I can do. And you're in your lane. You're cruising down the highway, doing your thing, which is terrific, helping people.
Yeah.
See, I like that idea of telling people that it's their choice. And I've been accused of being judgmental. And I said, listen, dealer's choice. In one of the programs that I trained in, the big mission of the whole program was be the chooser. So you say romance by choice. You get to choose what you do and don't like. But the trick to it is knowing what that is. I can tell you that you as a coach, I'm a longtime coach. I try to tell clients there's no medal of honor for going it alone. The degree of objectivity you get from another individual from the outside looking in is just worth itself in spades. The process is much more efficient. And then you get some feedback in real time and a plan. So Bill, what do you say to the idea that, gosh, it sounds so tactical. Like what happened? You're taking all the romance out of it by having a plan. How would you respond to somebody who commented as such?
Well, you see, the last part of the book are what I call the 4 pillars of a relationship. And they are truth, trust, communication, and romance. I am extremely heavy on the romance side, because people don't do enough of that. And I do run through a lot of exercises with the clients as to, what can they do to create more romance in their relationship.
But I love romance. I'm so much a fan of romance. That's one thing that I missed, is just being romance and romancing somebody else. So,
But there's a certain way you like to be romanced, right?
yes.
And you have to know that, whether is it, of course, there's the 5 love languages. Do you just like to spend cozy time at a picnic or together? Or would you like somebody to buy you a necklace? So you have to know what you like, and then be okay with saying, hey, this is what I like, and be with a partner who respects that and honors it.
Very true.
Right. Out your preferences. Right, Bill?
Again, when we talk about the communication aspect, it's how do you communicate your needs, and how do you get from your partner their needs? And it's all done through wonderful communication at the right time and the right places to bring up certain subjects. So, you can't just, all of a sudden come out there and go, well, how do you like to be loved or romanced? I mean, that's like, I don't have to tell you that. But if you do it through the proper channels of dating, and as you're dating, and whether you're out dancing, or whether you're at a movie, or you're at the beach, people will tell you, oh, I love being at the beach. I just love the sun and the blah, 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 blah. So you know that this is something that's very important to this special person in your life. So if you're going to do something that's romantic, why not do it at the beach? Why not put them in the environment they like? Also, it's trying new things. Some people love to get dressed up and go out for an important night and maybe dance and dinner and that kind of thing. And there are other people who just want to stay very casual. But this all goes back to the very beginning, at when you're choosing the way you choose to live. So if you're a romantic, then that's something that's very important to you in the person you're choosing. So obviously, these are things you're going to be looking for. And if you find out that this person you're dating just isn't into romance, they don't particularly care about it. They don't care about getting dressed up. They don't care about, the things that you would do, then you're with the wrong person. And the sooner you realize that the person you're with is not going to be able to fulfill the things you choose for your life, they're not going to change. Too many times we meet someone who we had 10 things on our list, maybe they have 4 or 5, and because they have 4 or 5, we're going to try to change the other 5 or 6 things that we don't like. And that's never going to happen. Why try to reinvent the situation when there is the perfect person for you out there?
Bill, I am back here smiling because you hit the nail on the head in terms of romance for me. Getting dressed up and going to dinner and dancing. Oh, I just love all that. That is, and you're right, because if you're with someone who doesn't like that, which I have been, then it just doesn't work, because they don't want to get dressed up. They don't want to dance. And so there's that friction, so to speak. And then you have to realize kind of game over.
I could never date you, Ben. I don't want to go dancing. Oh my goodness.
I could dance all night. All night.
Oh, yeah. No.
My mom and I have that in common. In fact, my mom's been my date for a number of things, and we'll get all dressed up and go to a gala, a black tie event, and we'll be dancing the whole night, sweat pouring off me. I don't care. Put the hair up, keep going. And it's just so much fun. But we've got to take a break. I'm sorry to figure out. We have to take a quick break to hear from one of our sponsors. Stay with us on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. It's all about dating.
Networking sucks and people suck at it, but nothing gives me more life than walking around and talking to people in an audience and really being able to identify, okay, I see where you're having trouble, let's work on fixing it. How do you help them? How do you provide value? My goal is to give them those tools to be able to go out and tackle that fear. Anywhere there's coffee is where I'll be. So I bring candy a lot to my speaking engagements. Like, of course that makes sense. I'm a little unconventional.
Ashley was very knowledgeable.
Very entertaining.
I learned a few new things, and to me that's the key.
What do you want them to say? How do you want to be perceived? You're going to get the most direct, tactical tips and practical takeaways when it comes to networking. These two here are super important. You'll remember once the conversation starts.
I love the tips that she gave out. I hate networking with a passion, so I feel like I can go to a meeting or event and not feel so uncomfortable.
When you're going to a presentation, you want to be educated. You also want to be entertained.
She was really fun and really personable, and everything she was saying was just very relatable.
She's got a lot of great ideas.
That will make you stand out so fast.
She comes across as someone that likes what they do and just doesn't try to sell you something.
Activity breeds results. If you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere.
Just made me want to start networking, which I never thought I'd say before.
A networking strategy that works for you.
Every day, it was the same old story. I worked hard to make sure no one noticed what I was dealing with, but my stomach never cared where I was. And the pain just kept coming. After too many close calls and even weight loss, I had to do something. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation helped me realize what was going on and even helped me find a specialist. Don't hide your symptoms. Get help at spillyourguts.org.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. I am here today. It's all about dating. And with me is my co-host, Lisa Manyoky, and our guest, Bill Scalzitti. I messed it up. Scalzitti. I'm having so much fun. I love this show. I think it's my favorite show of the week. It's so much fun talking about dating and relationships. It's happy, right? So, Bill, question I have for you. I personally have had a lot of dating gone wrong stories, and I try to learn something from it, right? Sometimes it just doesn't work out. When somebody comes to you and they've had a history, you mentioned that they're not lining up with the right people, right? And we talked about presence in the beginning of the show. Lisa talked about how important that is. What do you do when someone doesn't really want to take a look at who they are and what responsibility and accountability they have for why things haven't worked out so far?
Well, when I begin my program with someone, that's the first thing we have to clear up. Are they willing to make the changes necessary to succeed in the dating world? Are they willing to do the homework and put in the time? Because I say, look, if you're looking for something quick as a cheeseburger, you're in the wrong place. I can't help you. I know my methodology works, but you have to work it. And that's the way it is. If they don't work it, they're not going to have what they're looking for. And it's that simple.
So they have to be committed. It's like anything with coaching, right? If somebody comes to you and they want a magic wand or they think something, miraculously is going to change for them, it doesn't work that way. You have to be all in.
Correct.
I like the from neuroscience studies, which is an area where I'm strong, the reticular activating system, which says, you're bombarded with information all the time. And by focusing on what you do want, you actually screen out the things that run interference, but you do get to see what you'll recognize opportunities that suit you. It's no different than I always use the analogy when you're thinking about buying a new car and you say, okay, I want a Mazda or I want a Jaguar. suddenly you start seeing them all over the road. So by working with somebody like Bill, and that's your brain at work, by working with someone like Bill, where you're getting clear about what you do want, and you enable yourself to recognize opportunities that otherwise might pass you by. So I hate to compare it to buying a car, but the theory is applicable, right, Bill?
Absolutely. You know, I've told people, I said, look, think of it this way. We're all used cars. We're not new. We all come with a history. I said, if you were going to buy a used car and you had no idea what make, model, year, color, everything you were looking for, you could go to a used car lot, spend all day there and buy nothing. Because you're just going to keep looking and not be able to make a choice. But if you know you want a car that's X years old, you want a 1999 Chevy black with red interior and, 50,000 miles on it and this price range and that, you could go to the car lot and find it because you know what you're looking for. And it's that way in the dating world.
Great points. I've mentioned this before on the show, but I've had girlfriends who literally made it their life's work to find someone. They knew exactly what they wanted. They went out night after night, or they worked with a coach, and they found the person. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, how did this happen? What happened? Because they made it happen. They put it into the universe. They did their research. They narrowed down what they wanted, what they could let go of. And now they're happy. I have like 4 girlfriends who did that. It's great.
So Bill, I have a question. You mentioned feng shui. So where does that fit into your program?
Well, in feng shui, they have the Bagua map. And the Bagua map is broken down into all areas of a person's life. And there is a love and romance area. And it's in the southwest corner of every room. So what I have my clients do is take their bedroom to begin with and feng shui the bedroom. Make sure that in the southwest corner of the bedroom, sometimes they have a lot of clutter. And if you have clutter, that's what's happening in your romantic life. Or they'll have the wrong types of photos or images or color. So when you go through the principles of feng shui, you can feng shui your room, your office, your house, every room in your house to attract the type of people you want, that you're looking for. So it's a very interesting way of doing it. But when you learn about it, you say, wow, kind of makes a little sense. Like if you will never put a picture of 3 people in your romance corner. You want a picture of a man and a woman, or a picture of a male and a female animal. You attract.
Unless you're looking for 3 people.
Then put it there.
Because
that's out there too, friends.
To each his own.
Right, it's their choice, whatever your choice is.
So if someone came to you and said that they wanted to have 2 partners, does that require more albums, or how does that work?
Listen, I've been asked. I have.
And what did you say, Miss Lisa?
I don't share. Listen, I'm pretty funny about it, but I was asked, we're looking for a 3rd. I said, a 3rd what? A 3rd partner. I said, how many are you looking for? Oh, just 1 more. I said, no, I don't think so. Threesomes, no. But I've been asked more than once. And hey, listen, points for clarity. If that's what they want, go for it. It's not me, but.
Everybody out there, just so you know, Lisa will not be a 3rd. Okay, we want that to be on the record. By the way, speaking of people who are out there, we see you watching. I'm checking on my devices. Let's hear something from you in the comments. What are you finding? Are you single out there? Are you looking for someone? Are you ready for a coach? Because we've got Bill here who wants to help you. He's very accomplished. He's put. How many people have you put together, Bill?
I couldn't give you a number. I don't keep count.
But it's extensive. It's a large number, right?
Well, yeah. It's been a lot of years, so there's a lot of people. And they all know if they have a problem, how to reach me and let me know they have a problem. If I don't hear from them, I assume they're doing well.
Yeah, I would too. I would too. So if you're out there and you're listening or watching, just put something in the comments, or you can call, because you still have 15 minutes. You can call 609-961-1169. Oh, no, 1699. Don't call the other number, okay? Let me run the banner for the number. It's 609-961-1699. There it is. Okay, so Lisa, we know that you are interested in meeting someone, right? You want to talk about that or not?
Like I've said before, I mean, ready but not urgent. Someone not too long ago said to me, we never even met, and you need to get back in town soon so that we can spend some time together. And I'm thinking, how about a conversation first? But he said, just tell me what you want and I'll do anything to make you happy. And I said, oh my goodness gracious, already? No, thank you. I don't mean to sound like a crankpot, but come on. I mean, lighten up. Anybody who's this desperate man or woman on a mission, I think desperation and a high degree of urgency is a big red flag waving madly. So just take it easy. I mean, relax. And for those who are urgent and if your timing works, then, the stars align and it's wonderful. But that urgency thing is not for me.
It's not going to happen overnight, right?
No, and it takes time to get to know somebody. So I'd rather that you meet somebody and see that the person you met is the person who stays. Like Bill, you said, people don't change. You can tweak the recipe a little bit or maybe break bad behavioral habits, but who you are is who you are. I mean, that's what I preach. So show up the first time so that nobody's disappointed or you get stuck into something where you don't want to be or with a person who really doesn't suit you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about some other red flags that if these come up, you have to say to yourself, maybe not the right person for me. Bill, Lisa, what can you think of for red flags?
Well, to me, see, red flags are different for every person. It depends on, what each person chooses when we go through this list of things that we ask them to think about. And, you could talk about, what if you meet someone who has an illness or a medical condition? They have to think about that. Are they willing to accept someone in their life who has a medical condition or an illness? And if that doesn't bother them and they say, fine, I don't care, I'd be happy to. If it's the right person, I'd be happy to take care of them and blah, blah, fine. Somebody else may say, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So if every individual thing, no matter what the question is, it really depends on what that person is willing to accept. And sometimes they don't know. If you talk about finances, or you talk about family histories, and you talk about nationalities, and you talk about religion, there's a lot of things that people may not have even given thought to. So the first thing they have to do is think about that and think about whether they can accept that. Whether, what traditions the family has, those kinds of things.
A lot of things to take into consideration.
You know what? When one of my earlier dating forays, I told this one guy, I said, I took the word obey out of my wedding vows when I was married. He said, you did? I said, I did. He said, he was appalled. Well, that belongs in there. I went, strike 1, 2, and 3. You are out of the ball game, buddy. I said, are you obey? I don't obey anybody. No.
No, obeying, you're not going to be third.
No. And then I said, wait, and just tell me you keep your money in a metal box under your mattress. And there was this silence. I went, you do? And he did. I said, are you trying to evade taxes? Well, apparently he lost a lot of money in a bad bankroll. He was a stockbroker and he was hiding. I said, wow, there you go. Bye-bye. But really, that was quite a obey. horribly appalled, and started quoting Bible talk. I said, listen, I went to Catholic school from K through 12. You want to talk Bible talk with me? I can keep up, but I don't remember anybody demanding obey. So anyway.
Good one, Lisa. I like it. Miss Independence over there. Go for it. And that's something else, Bill, right? Some men or some women want someone who's really independent, and others rather have somebody who's more submissive.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's dealer's choice. You find your fit.
Exactly.
Right.
It's the choice you make. And, there's someone for everything if they're willing to take the time to, find it instead of trying to create it in something that will never change.
Bill, what kind of coaching do you give people when we mentioned before about an online dating service, and you can work with a coach to help you sort through those different connections that you make on there? Do you find people have double the success or some increased amount of success if they work with a coach and they're online? What have you been finding?
Well, that's interesting because, I would only really know about the people who've worked with a coach, and hopefully that coach gave them the right advice on how to deal with the online profile. And there are some coaches I've met over the years and read things online and websites where a lot of it is, silliness about, the way to be on a dating site, especially the way they teach some men to be on a dating site is silly. I mean, a woman doesn't want to meet somebody who's 15 years old mentally.
Right.
So you make all these silly poses and, where's the maturity level?
Bill, you are, I think, the first male coach that we've had on here. So I want to ask you a question. Let me see. I don't think I have it on this show. Why is it that I'm just going to say men. I haven't seen it with women because I've never looked at women's profiles, but why is it that some men will pose with pictures of like this? Like, this is from a dating site. Like, what's up with this? What are they trying to say?
I think that they need to grow up a little bit. They're trying to show that they're funny, that, they have some kind of sense of humor, but it's just childish. And we all know that, it depends on how old that person was, but with men, there is a maturity factor. And, women don't always take that into account. So
So we just heard it here from our first male coach that we've had on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. It's all about dating. Men are immature. Thank you for validating that, Bill. Thank you so much.
No fish pictures. I see them all the time. Some of them, now that one's funny, but I've seen them where the guys are just proud of the fish they caught. And I thought, I don't know, unless you're on a dating site for women fishermen, it doesn't seem like a good choice,
And what about the backwards baseball cap in the white T-shirt? What is with that? What are you saying? What's the message?
It's just the way they view themselves as men. And, it depends on what age category your male is in. If he's in his 20s or 30s, he may do different things than if he's in his 40s or 50s. And, it's part of the culture too, because if you notice, wherever you go out to the mall, go shopping, you'll see a lot of that same image with the baseball cap turned around in a white T-shirt, and, so that's the way a lot of men want to roll. And if that's what you're looking for, fine. If not,
Yes.
But I think it's always important that people show their hair, their head of hair, whether it's whatever they have, that hats and sunglasses and any other types of features that camouflage what's under it all it's better to show them in the beginning so that there's no surprises. You know, the guy who takes off his hat and maybe is bald or has a big tattoo, whatever it is.
Or the hair's attached to the hat. I like that.
Well, that would be a real problem. Like, can you imagine?
No, I've seen it before. They have hats with hair attached to them.
I've seen them, but I've never seen anybody actually do that. That would be dreadful.
No.
But unless it's a joke. But again, if a woman likes that, and then that's who this guy is, if that's how he is, super, right?
But, I mean, I've had women clients who tell me they like men who are bald.
Yep.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I don't mind.
That's their thing. So, you know, again, it's whatever turns them on.
That's true. I always thought that Telly Savalas was very attractive.
Yeah.
You know, I like a nice head of hair, but if the guy doesn't have hair, I think and we discussed this before, but I think it should be all or nothing. I don't think it should be like the fringe.
The comb over.
Like, just all.
Commit.
Yeah, commit to it. Commit. So, guys, we're actually coming up to the top of the show, which I can't believe. It's gone by so fast, and so many laughs, too, by the way. So, Bill, where can people reach you? And remember, we're on the radio. I'm going to stream your banner, but what's the best way to get in touch with Bill?
They can go to romancebychoice.com, and all my contact information is there. Or they can email me at romancebychoice@optonline.net. And I'd be more than happy to interview anyone and see if they'd be a good candidate for my program.
Fantastic. And Bill, what final words do you have for people out there watching and listening who are single, who are struggling, they want to meet somebody, but they're just stuck?
Well, one is you have to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, no one else is going to love you. And it's the same with respect. You have to respect yourself, or no one else is going to respect you. And there is love for every single person out there if they're willing to do the work and open up to receiving love.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bill. It has been a real joy having you here today. And you obviously have a wealth of experience and knowledge. And I hope that our audience will reach out to you. romancebychoice.com. So thank you so much for being here, Bill. We'll see you backstage in just a moment.
Okay, thank you.
And Miss Lisa Manyoky, another great show. We just keep laughing on this, right? It's
lots of good stories, you know?
I know. I love it. That's why I'm glad we're doing this. And we get to meet so many neat people like Bill. So Lisa, where can people reach you to talk about getting in alignment with their presence and who they are?
They can go to talk with or giftfromcoachlisa.com. That's more business, but talkwithcoachlisa.com. That way we'll get on the phone and we'll go over whatever their needs are and then go from there.
Perfect. And what final words do you have for our audience who's out there looking for love, but in all the wrong places?
Oh, don't get wobbly. You know, it's so tempting sometimes to say, oh my gosh, you know, I can tolerate that. This is not about tolerance. There's no Medal of Honor for going it alone. You know, like what you like, be happy that you do, and look for it. You will find it, but you've got to stay the course. You know, it can be tempting. Life can get isolated and kind of quiet, but you got to hang in there. And if you're not strong enough to do it yourself, then use the support of your closest friends or a coach. Coaches are great allies. They are your champions to accomplish your goals. So go for it.
Because coaches can see things around the corner that we can't see because they've already been there, right?
Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, my friend. Thank you so much for being here today. It is always a pleasure. Let's see. We have a comment. Thank you. We have great show. Thank you. So is that Jenna? Jenna Wurtenberg.
Great.
Hopefully I said that. Thank you so much for watching, Jenna. We really appreciate that. That means a lot. So, Lisa, I will see you next time on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. It's all about dating.
Sounds good.
In just a moment.
All righty. Bye, everyone.
Oh, sorry. You're here. I'm there.
Hello.
Okay, it's always fun being on this program, especially since I'm not only doing the interviewing, but I'm running the board and taking us live on Business Talk Radio and on Facebook and YouTube and taking calls. And sometimes I mess it up. And you know what? That's okay, because it's a learning process and it's experience. I want to thank you, our loyal listeners and viewers, for being here. We really appreciate you. We have 3 shows tomorrow, starting at 3:30 Eastern Time. Wrapping with Dr. Jacalyn welcomes pet psychic Amina. And at 5 o'clock, we have Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. And at 6 o'clock, we have the Variety Show. So something for everyone. Thank you again for being here. Please spread the word, asking people to drop in on Wrapping with Dr. Jacalyn and see what our guests have to share. It's all about our guests and their stories. Thank you again for being here. We'll see you tomorrow.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.